Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, the Robert Space Industries ZEUS Mark II ES. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, welcome back to another review, and thank you to Fow97 for becoming a Tier 4 Patreon member once again and supporting me with this review here of the month that they have chosen, the ZEUS Mark II ES, the exploration variant of this ship. Thank you to WinRAR42 and What124 for joining me on the review of this ship as well. Now with that, let's go ahead and talk about the ship, the stats, and everything about it. It is $175 if you were to go ahead and buy it on the Pledge Store, or if you buy it in-game, it's $4,201,470 UEC. I have to say, the outside the game price isn't as competitive with the ships in its class like the Freelancer, the Cutlass, and the C1 Spirit, so it makes it a very hard choice to choose this over all those. Let's go ahead and talk about what damage this ship outputs just with the stock loadout, and then maybe some recommendations for some weapons. With that, this ship does have a total of 2,731 burst damage per second due to the two size 4 aUEC laser cannons with a 328 alpha and a 1,152 meter a second round speed. And yes, I called it aUEC, even though people call it Omni-Sky or whatever you want to call it. I just find it much easier just to call it the aUEC laser cannon. Now with that, we do have two size 3 CF337 Panthers on a remote turret on the bottom of the ship with a 44 alpha and a 1,480 meter a second round speed. Then the pilot also has 8 size 2 Dominator 2 missiles, which are pretty cool, and they're located right at the front of the ship as they would be, and you can actually see the missiles from inside the cockpit, which we'll take a look at here in just a moment. Now with this ship and everything in mind when it comes down to its damage output, those two front guns are size 4s, and then the two guns on the turret are size 3s. You could go with quite a few different loadouts, but if you're looking to have something pretty effective in 4.10 coming to us here soon, you'd either want to put Deadbolt 4s or maybe the Revenant ballistic Gatling guns on the front of the ship with the GT220s on the bottom. Now, if we're taking a look at its defensive capability, it does have a total of 40,000 bubble shield, which is actually quite phenomenal. If you're comparing it to every other ship in its class, it's definitely the highest out of all of them. The Freelancer sitting at 30,000, the Cutlass Black sitting at 7,200, and the C1 Spirit sitting at 10,000. That's actually really phenomenal that this ship has such a good bubble shield, allowing it to take many hits from lasers or even stopping ballistic damage for a little while, and that is always a great thing to have. Now for ship armor, you do have 11,520 with a 50 deflection radius physical and a 40 deflection radius energy weapon, and that is once again the best in its tier because all other ships are sitting at 7,000 armor on the Cutlass, 9,000 armor on the C1 Spirit, and 10,000 armor on the Freelancer with lower deflection stats. So that is quite awesome. Once again, the ZEUS is shining in comparison to those three ships. Now, if we're looking at the health pool, it's definitely not number one in spot, but it's not last either. You're sitting at a total of 32,000 HP with one vital component at 15,000 HP. If you're looking at the Freelancer, you have 34,000 HP with three vital components. Looking at the C1 Spirit, you have 67,000 HP with three vital components, sitting at 37,300 HP as well. And then at the Cutlass Black, you have 29,000 with one vital component sitting at 6,500, which is not good. That is a very bad thing if you're looking at the Cutlass in comparison. Now, with this ship, you do have a top SCM speed of 205 with a 405 forward boost, a 210 backwards boost, and a top nav speed of 1,100. Definitely not bad by any means. This ship can get around pretty quickly and not have to worry about being chased down unless you get trapped in a QED, of course. Now, you do have a pitch yaw roll of 32, 32, 110, and a boosted 38, 38, 132. Its maneuverability is definitely some of the worst out of all the other comparisons that you could probably have at this class, and that's really tough because, you know, maneuverability does play an important role of getting out of a sticky situation. Now, you do have 25 flares and 10 decoys. Again, a very low number in comparison to 80% of the ships in the game, sitting at that typical 46, 45 range on your flare, so that's really too bad. And then you have 8.8 SCU of hydrogen fuel in game version 410 and 6.7 SCU of quantum fuel, again, in game version 410. It is looking like it does retain quite a bit of fuel for being the exploration variant, which is fantastic. Now, we're going to take a look at this ship in the first-person view to go ahead and just see what this ship is about. So with that, here is the ES, the ZEUS ES. Is quite the nice looking ship, and honestly, out of all the options that you have in this class and range, this one has the most amount of entrances possible for you as the crew member of this ship. You have a ladder entrance right here. You can go ahead and enter the ship via the ladder. You have a rear ramp entrance, and then right over here, you even have an EVA entrance right on the side of the boat, which we'll check out all three options here in just a moment. Now, when you make your way to the rear of the ES, this ship here does carry some cargo, obviously, as it does have a cargo ramp and the ability to carry that. It can carry up to 32 SCU of cargo right here on the grid. Now, that is definitely a lot less than the CL variant of this ship. The CL, those cargo grid, is very difficult to get fully loaded unless you, of course, know exactly what size boxes you need in what positions. And then while you're in here, as you can see, there are some graphical glitches. It's not that the wall disappears, it's just it's getting really weird dark shading over it when you're at a certain angle. You do have a nice fire extinguisher. And then over here is a nice barren wall with nothing. And then you have some components right here on the wall, one here, nice. And then with a nice relay area right behind you, some more components. Go ahead and open that up even more, the jump drive, cooler, and power plant. And then over here, a little bit more, of course, you have the radar and the shield generator. So it's a pretty nice little area. You got quite a few of your crucial components back here. Again, a 32 SCU grid, definitely not terrible. And then if you make your way into the main hallway here, this hallway is where the crew is going to take care of most of their business from having your area to sit. Store things in lockers. Go ahead and take a look at any of your seats or beds. You do have 3 beds here, and you even have a nice little bathroom hiding behind this door. You go ahead and enter here, and you have a nice restroom, as well as a mirror that doesn't seem to operate currently at this time, and a shower. So it's nice to have the shower, the toilet, and everything all in one spot so you can take care of business just like that. Bidet who? Now, if we go up to this lock here and we enter this, we have a total of 1 million micro SCU in each locker. So that's a pretty decent amount. Now, once you're out of those lockers, we're going to go ahead and turn right on around and go right for the nice kitchen area with the terrifying person standing right there. So before we do so, we'll turn right around and see that you do have a nice little area for your weapon storage. 3 rifles, 3 handguns, as well as 3 multi-tool attachment slot areas, which is fantastic, and that looks great. Now, if we go into the kitchen area here, you do have a nice eating area with 1 fridge on the wall there, another fridge here and there, as well as a nice window for when you sit down and eat, with a very limited desk space, honestly. And if you want all 3 of your crew members to eat, well, sadly, they're not going to be able to really sit together unless they cram themselves onto that bench area. But it is a nice looking kitchen area. It's a little bland. I mean, there could be some elements where I would like to add a poster or something, maybe decorate with some like maybe Christmas or Halloween lights or something. I don't know, because it just feels very flat and bland, even though you do have a lot of the kitchen stuff. And it's not a military ship, so I mean, I'm not exactly too certain why this is just such a bland environment here, but it definitely doesn't look too terrible. I think after the Perseus, RSI might have learned a thing or two, so maybe in the future we'll get some updated interiors. Another fire extinguisher, and then your ladder entry and exit point right here, as well as more components and your engineering terminal right over here. So first, we'll go ahead and open this up. You have a shield generator, battery access. You have another fuse relay system right here. You go ahead and open that up, as well as your engineering terminal, and then more access to shield generator and your gravity generator area. Now, right here is where you're going to have 3 suit lockers for the 3 crew members of this ship, and then right behind that is the EVA or docking collar, which is nice. You can go ahead and open that up, and as you can see, it kind of hides along the hull here of the ship, and there's even a button on the outside to get in and out from EVA, which is really cool. Now we'll go ahead and close this on up, nice and hidden away, and we'll make our last step here into the cockpit area. Now, when you're here, you do have a life support and avionics area for the ship, another fire extinguisher, and then right behind there, another weapons rack where you can fit a super weapon like a railgun, or even 3 rifles, 3 handguns, and 3 multi-tools, allowing this ship to carry quite a few firearms for you. If you get in some sort of risky business, this ship will definitely take care of you. Now, you do have the co-pilot seat, the gunner seat, as well as the pilot seat, all right here. Now, with that, right below these seats, you can see right where the missiles are stored. When you have a full load, you'll have them all right there and right there, ready to go. And so first, let's go ahead and hop into the gunner seat. All right, now that we're in the gunner seat, as you can see, you do have the MFD here to the left, and you're good to go. You're good to get into the gun, so we can go ahead and do that now. Honestly, the turret could be so much better if this thing punched out of the ship just a little bit more or was on top of the boat. If they were to swap the turret to be on top, it would definitely be a little bit more usable. Sadly, it is not, and so you have to deal with having a remote turret that is not so great. Now, over here is the co-pilot seat, which is fine and dandy. Honestly, I wouldn't even bother putting somebody in that seat. It's really not needed, as the pilot does have control over everything in the Robert Space Industries ZEUS Mark II. Once you get into the cockpit here, you do have, of course, the struts to your right, to your left, and then right in front of you, the primary view, which if you look up, you don't have much of an upwards view. You do have a little bit there. And then if you look down, you have a pretty decent, down view, but then you only have 2 MFDs. Again, it's not a military ship, so less information isn't typically a bad thing, but it would be nice if we had 1 or 2 more screens. And then, of course, you got your radar here, which you can adjust, and it's kind of hiding here in this background, but it is there. With that, I mean, this is the ZEUS ES. It is I would have to say a starter's exploration ship, if anything, just because it is limited on firepower. It is kind of limited on what it can overall do. The ES is just kind of like a fun A to B ship, but you can definitely get out there and have a great time with it, as you see here. We were loading this thing up with batteries. We did a whole Hathor line of mine with this ship. It's very capable in storing exactly what you need to go out there in the verse and have a great time. But with that in mind, it's just depending on how much you like the exterior view, the interior design. She is a quite gorgeous ship if you're looking at it from any sort of perspective in comparison to something like the Freelancer, the Cutlass, or even the C1 Spirit. And yes, I do compare it to those 3 because the price point is the only thing that's kind of out of line with those ships. Everything else is in line with them. From speed to firepower to maneuverability to shield and health pool, everything is exactly like those other ships, except for maybe better in some areas or worse in some areas, right? It is definitely a direct competitor in size, usability, and everything else. And I do have to say, the ZEUS ES is a fantastic ship, but with that, my score is an 85 out of 100. Now, it is an 85 out of 100 because there are some lacking things. Only 32 on the grid. It is a great A to B ship, and it's still very good and a very competitive ship when you're taking a look at it in comparison to everything else we've talked about. Now, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review of the ZEUS ES. Honestly, she is a gorgeous boat. It's going to be pretty interesting to see the 3rd variant of the ship come out someday, as well as the 3rd variant of the Spirit series. Can't wait for both of those. Oh, FYI, did you know I'm running giveaways on Twitch. When you get a chance, go ahead and enter those giveaways on Twitch. It's every couple weeks we're giving away a new ship, and it is pretty awesome. So make sure you take a look, and they do come with the game pack and LTI, as the giveaways are brought to you by Cloud Imperium Games. Thank you guys for being amazing. I'll see you out there. Let me tell you something real quick. When you see me looking around in game, that's not a trick, that's Beam eye tracking doing the work. Its newest version is now in beta and completely removes the need for open track, giving you seamless integration between the software and the game. It's easy to set up, runs clean, and you can use it with a webcam, iPhone, or Android device. And it's only $30. One program, less overhead, smoother tracking. Grab Beam eye tracking through the link below to support the developer directly and stop running multiple apps when you want to feel more immersed in what you're doing.